Hi there. Do you love Christmas? Do you want to craft? Do you want to give your neighbors laser eye surgery every time they look out their window? Well, I have a project for you today. We are making, here we go. Super bright LED stars for your home. And it's I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it's something you can do, and I'll show you exactly how on Dudley's Cheap and Easy Holiday Edition. To start with, you're gonna need to make this simple Christmas star, which I'll show you how to do right over there. The first thing you're gonna need to buy is bender board. This is sold in the garden area. It's super thin. It almost looks like the same size as a meter stick or a yardstick, but it's got a little give to it. Trust me. And it's sold in about 10-foot to 12-foot lengths for about $1 a piece, so it's really economical. I've taken that long piece and cut it into 3-foot pieces. You can do it longer, you can do it shorter, whatever you want to it. And we're just gonna essentially lay out a star pattern right here on the ground. Now, I cover my workspace in old boxes so that I'm never quite ruining the floor. And on top of that, it's nice on my knees. So lay out your basic star pattern like this. Get the corners somewhat nicely together. And we're going to be using our good old-fashioned staple gun, or hand stapler, with 5/8 inch, or I think these are actually, what insane number, a little bit over a 1/2 inch staple, whatever fraction they may use. And we're also going to be using some wood glue. So I'm going to start by putting a little wood glue in this corner right here, put them together, and staple. Now the great thing, since I've just put one staple in, I've got a little flexibility. I can move it around still. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to do it like that, put a little wood glue in this corner here, get it lined up where it looks good, and staple. I'm going to go up to the top. Oh, bring it back so you can see it all. Okay. The very top, once again, take a little wood glue, put it on the top there, put it together, and weight down on it, and staple. Now you can kind of see where the star is coming together. If you need to stretch out some planks, that's okay. Since we've just put one staple in, it's still pretty flexible where we need it to be. Alrighty. So the next thing I'm going to do is put some glue just under where all the connections are. I can lift it up just a little bit, shove some under there, shove some under here, right here, and put some right here where I know this is going to be touching once it's stapled down. Okay, so now let me get this to feel like it's feeling right. Kind of want it to be up a little higher. Oh. So, just needed to zhuzh it a bit. Now, it's looking pretty darn good. Okay. So now that it's looking right, I got a nice sort of middle pentagon. I'm going to start doing all the corners down. And when you start really trying to attach it for good, go ahead and use 2 staples so it doesn't move like it used to. Ta-da! It's a star. Looks pretty good from all of them. That one's a little off. No, it's good. Okay, so this is your basic. I've done it in a couple different sizes. I'm gonna paint this black, and then we are gonna make our Christmas magic happen. So it's now time to put the LEDs on it. I'm using LED strips. I have a blue reel right here. I have a white reel, white reel right here. And there are a couple different kinds of LEDs. 2 of the most popular are 35/28s and 50/50s. 50/50s are really bright, and since I know this is already going to be quite a punch, I went for 35/28. You can get them on Amazon, I'll put a link to that. If you got more time, you can get it from AliExpress, which is a Chinese wholesaler that'll give it to you even cheaper. But to start with, we're going to start laying out, let me show you all the stuff we're going to need before I get ahead of myself. So you need your LED strips. You're going to need some LED wire, which you can get in large quantities for really cheap on Amazon. You're going to need a glue gun and hot glue. You're going to need a wire stripper, and you're going to need a soldering iron. Now you can do this if you want to with these little sort of clip things that you can buy online to attach two together. For me, it just takes more time than just hitting it with two soldering joints, boom, boom, done, like that. So I'm going to show you that method. If you want to do it with the automatic clips that sort of join them together, that is fine too. Okay, to start off with, I'm going to take I think I'm going to do the white on the outside. A little tip if you're doing multiple colors of it, label your reel. I put a little W on here because it's really easy to forget which is which. So I'm going to choose where my start is going to be, which is right here. I'm going to do white on the outside, blue on the inside. Hey, you don't need to do two colors if you don't want to, don't feel like you have to. One is plenty fine. So I'm going to find out about how long it is. I'm going to cut the end. And the great thing about these LEDs, which I'm sure you've seen these strip things before, but I'll just go through it. There are little brass nodes and a little sort of cutting line there. If you cut between those brass nodes, the two little nodes on the end of it can be soldered to another one. They can hang out on their own. You can run the power to it. It's just sort of like a little easy port to get power or transmit power to the strip itself. Let's just give it a quick test to make sure. My little power supply is down here. I plug it in, blinding white light. It's working. Okay. Now on to the actual thing. So I'm going to also peel the silicone off the connector on this end because I will need to connect it to the rest of the star. So I'll do it like this, boop, boop. Get the silicone topper off of it. There we go. Cut it like so. Take off the backing piece. And now, you are like 1/40th done. That piece is now on. Let me test it again. Just gonna put my little tester right here. It lights. Good. I'm also going to take my stapler and just staple this down to make sure it doesn't get a little wonky. Okay, so now let's continue this process all around the store.
Up on the housetop, reindeer paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus, down through the chimney with lots of toys, all for the little ones' Christmas joys. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Up on the housetop, pick, 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 down through the chimney with bits and twigs.
Okay, so I managed to get the first round around it done in probably 10-12 minutes and keep most of my sanity. Next part is going to be the soldering. And before you do that, you want to prep by getting the connectors ready. So we're just going to use this plain old LED wire, cut about that much, split it in half. And then you want to take your wire stripper, because we're going to be making segments about yay long that have stripped ends on it to connect each of these lights to each other. Now you have 10 different pieces of light, so you need 10 connectors between each, and there's a positive and a negative end, so we're actually going to need 20 of these. We're going to need 10 red, 10 black. And yes, this is a pain in the butt. Thinking of changing the series to Douglas Cheap and Hard. It's actually worse, double entendre than cheap and easy. All right, I'm gonna go at this and I'll see you in a second. Okay, I've got my 20 connectors made here. Got my soldering iron heating up. Dangerous. By the way, if you've never soldered before, there are a million tutorials online. I'm not gonna try and outdo them. But it is very hot, thus to melt the solder. So just familiarize yourself if you've never done it before. Respect it. I have this nice little thing to hold it like that. Don't get too close to the tip. Treat it like a hot iron, which is what it is. So I like to start by taking my solder, which is a little wire like this, and just putting it on the points that are going to be connected first. Just get some on there before I even get the wires near it. Because I'll essentially just be melting the wires and sticking them in the solder that's already on there. This is handy. It's a little solder cleaner. It's like a little kitchen scrub thing. Oops. Caution, soldering has fumes. New story. You probably should wear something. I don't know. I've done it and I still am fine. So I don't. Okay, so now I've applied solder to all the points, and the next step is to actually connect it. If you look on your little strips, there will be a plus and a minus sign. Plus positive, black, or minus negative. Plus you usually traditionally use the red wire, black you use the for the negative. They're just wires, they don't really matter one way or another. It's just a way to help you be aware of what you're doing. So I'm gonna do it, just make sure that you keep the plus to plus, the negative to negative. I didn't really pay close attention when I was putting down the strips because it's easy enough to switch the wires as you go along in case you put one the other direction. But if you want to be very careful, you can make sure that the plus is always on the inside, the negative is on the outside, or vice versa.
Through the chimney with lots of toys, all for the little ones' Christmas joys. Ho, 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 who would it go? Ho, 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 who would it go?
There's something so satisfying when you solder and you make that little almost mercury liquid for a second and it hardens and it grabs hold. It's like this instant mega glue. It's nice. The one thing I'd say, what I like to do is I first heat up the little spot that I made, then stick the wire in it as opposed to trying to heat through the wire. I think it just is easier that way for me. But once again, tons of soldering videos. If you don't know how to do it, maybe check one of those out and see if there's something you like. I find if the wire is too big, it causes a problem, so I just keep it really tight.
Oh, up on the housetop, click, 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 down through the chimney with good Saint Nick.
All right, it is all soldered, and moment of the truth to see if this guy works. It should. I soldered it all right, but you never know. You never know. Things can come undone. Okay, here we go. Brrr. Yes! Okay, it does. Look at that. Ta-da! We'll look through a little pentagon here. Hi, guys. So this took me probably around 30 minutes to do it. If you want to do two, it maybe about 45. You might put an inner layer right there, which is what I'm going to do on my own. I'll show you in blue. You can choose any color you want. You can do multiple ones on this if you want to and just make it really blinding. But after we're done with all this, what I like to do just to help seal the connections is take a glue gun and just glop glue all over these. It'll insulate it, it'll protect it from the weather, and it'll also keep them from coming unstuck. And I'm just gonna go over each connection, hold them down. If you have a craft stick, you can push it down a little bit if you need to. Make sure everything is on. I always thought these looked like like cobwebs, the little things that come off it, and then later I found out they actually sell essentially a glue gun with a hose, an air hose to blow cobwebs all over things, and that's how they make them today. So I like to think that somebody just looked at it and said, there's got to be a use for this. Oh, of course. Alrighty, so let's do one more check to make sure everything still lights now that we've got the glue on it, and it does. So now the glue is just going to help everything keep connected, keep you ready for any kind of rain or weather you got on like that, and looks pretty good. So this is what they look like in action. I have this little machine that makes them blink along to music. So here is the double star finished product in all its glory, and it'll look great in your yard too. You can do this. You can attach it to a little stake. I think I'm gonna put it on top of some of these like Christmas trees I have out there. It's gonna be amazing. Merry Christmas, get to crafting, and thank you for watching. And I think I'm supposed to say subscribe, so subscribe.